All right, we should be good. And why can't? What? What? What do I gotta do? What? Oh, there's more shit. They didn't. This is all new. This should be 30. And then okay. Let me fucking what do you want from me? Guys, I'm having a hell of a time with this. What am I what? Oh, that. Jesus Christ. Learn. We're going to learn. Holy shit, that's it? That's all I needed? Perfect. All right, now let's hope all this works. We should be good. Okay, welcome. We have a big red truck today. It is going to get the full windshield in 40, and the front doors are going to match the rear as close as we possibly can. So first off, I got a meter. I'm simply going to put this over the glass. 22! And then we're going to roll this up because not everybody realizes that it won't roll up unless the key is on. And then small tip too, if you press and hold it, let it go silent. And then it goes into ignition mode. So then we can roll it up. Take our meter. Glass is not clear. This one meters at 74%. So we need to take that into consideration for whatever we put on there. Which actually really means that a 20% is going to meter a little bit dark. All right. So let's grab some tape. And let's get that on the windows. Or on the seals. Hang on. I'm about to screw up my audio. Oh, I got the wrong. There we go. All right, I think we're good now. Let's test. Sweet. All right, guys. How are we on TikTok? Is it quiet? Is it loud? Is it working? I hope it's working. Put a lot of effort into imagining that it's working. So I hope it's working. So we're going to take some tape and put it over the seal. This is absolutely something that you can wipe off. Rubber seals, you can just clean. Right, like so. That generally helps a lot, but you see all that dirt that came out of there? So, I still don't mind, you know, putting a piece of tape. Now we're tinting against a brand new seal as well. Wiped and clean. Or just tape. Or just tape. You know, whatever suits your fancy. So we're going to lift this up. I got to grab my sprayer. We're going to get this all set. This truck makes me feel small today. Look at that. I'm like 6'2". Perfect. Let's go to the other side. Do the same thing. Trying this new thing. Putting stuff in helpful places. That's my new thing right now. Oh, I'd use this for something else. We gotta peel some away. There we go. All right, so we're gonna take off a piece. Trim, and just another one that I can overlap. It just makes it easier for me to put smaller pieces rather than one giant piece start to finish, because we got to sneak it into the seal and it's very sticky. And the door kind of curves inwards. So I always do a couple of overlapping pieces. And then I wrap it around so it's always taped in here. Let's roll this up. It's good. And we can spray it. The tape is to help with dirt on the side edges. They're rubber seals. You can wipe them. But anything with a little age on it especially, it's a brand new seal now. We're tinting against something that's fresh off a clean roll versus up against dirt that might feed back into our pattern. All right, so we are doing 20 on the front two. It's going to be this roll right here. We're going to take a 24-inch roll here. These doors are a little bit taller. Let's cut off a piece. And then I'm going to put another piece right on top. This is going to go back in the box. Big old truck. We're doing the full windshield on this one. So I'm going to tack these together. And I want to make sure my blades are all set. So this is for the top edge of the window. BA54P by NT Cutter. Fantastic blades. We're going to put this in a plastic knife. And then I'm going to grab my stainless knife. And these are BA50SS stainless steel blades for these ones. Really nice. This front windshield illegal. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's focus on the doors for now. All right. So, one more thing. Before we get to cutting, I'm so tall. This is just an extremely tall truck. So, when we're cutting out the top edge, we'll get you nice and close. Otherwise, you guys are staring more at the door, and I don't like that. Calling the FBI. Hell yeah. Maybe they want some windshield tint too. Okay, we're going to start with cutting this edge. And to do that, I only have the very tip of the blade poking out. Beautiful. Now since we tacked it, we're going to loosen up pattern. And then we're going to slide it over. Right like so. Then we're going to go to this side and do the same thing. I'm going to pinch inwards. So we slide it back so we have a little bit of margin here. It's overlapped. A little bit that's over there. And then we're going to lower this down. Not very far. Just enough to get into that first seal. Oh, this is slippery today. That's always a good thing. Couple firm passes. It's going to make sure that it doesn't slide. Because we have to roll this down and cut the very top of the window. There, that's what I want to see. See, you wiggle it, it doesn't move, not unless you like push harder and really try and like. I'm going to lift this and then roll down the window. Just enough to expose that top edge. Now we're going to switch knives. I have a thin carbon knife with a plastic holder. When you cut this top edge, you need to make sure that that plastic is actually touching the glass. So that's holding the tint against. And then the knife is actually doing the cutting. So a nice sharp blade, light pressure. So I'm not pushing hard, and just a steady start to finish, and you get a beautiful cut there. Now we're going to take this over to the glass board and trim off the rest of it. Around this corner. We're going to straighten this out. So this edge is farther, right? But this line is going straight. We're just connecting straight lines, right, like that. And now we don't have very far to go on this top. So this is the top edge of the window. We want to keep that same cut. Then we're just going to round the sharp point off the end there. So same thing on this side. Just round the sharpness off that corner. This is going to go straight. And then this continues. And then we can round that very end there. You can always take a little bit more off. You cannot put tint back. So if your cuts are overshot a little bit, it's fine. Is tint from Walmart any good? It's fine to just play around with, throw on your vehicle, see what it's like to tint. Just get their cheapest stuff. I have a video with their ceramic. It was super hazy. Do not recommend. It makes it hard to see. But their cheaper stuff looked better. Okay. So we have a pattern there. We have a pattern here. I prefer Target tint. All right, we're gonna snap shrink both of these front doors. Gonna take a heat gun, turn that to high, and then there's a little moisture in between the film. I haven't really hard squeegeed it, just knocked out some of the water. But I'm gonna grab this corner, I'm gonna lift it all the way across till we're about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 2 or 3 away from the end there, so it's still anchored. We're just lifting the bottom off. Heat gun is now nice and hot. And we're just getting that very end to curl inwards. You don't have to shrink them much, and it doesn't take long. Most of you guys are not even going to notice that it's shrinking. And that's all that it takes. It's got that little snap to it. It's exactly what you want to see. So I left this side wet. We're going to set it up the same way. I'm just going to lightly squeegee out some of this water. We're going to lift it up to there. Heat gun. Just move it inwards until you start to see the films curl in and shrink. It's subtle, but you don't need a lot. My biggest recommendation on that is you just don't need to shrink it near as much as what you might think. So that tension there, see that? That little spring back, how it kind of sits there? That slope, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so now we're gonna install this. We gotta get this prepped first, so let me put a door cover on here. I got a little bit left. I got a little bit of this one left. I swear I got just enough to do this. We're at the very end. Yes! Ooh, more than I thought. Look at that. Perfect. Got a door cover. TintBot, where do we get the door covers from? It's a great question. Look at that. It actually worked. Amazing. Amazing. Yes. Discount code 313tint saves you 5%. on tools. Oh, I should put this down a little bit lower. We're going to clean this, and I immediately notice all this beading. And then we got a classic sticker right here, too. OnStar Wi-Fi. Oh, dang. I remember that used to be put on... it seemed like everything. Sirius XM and all that. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to explain why. But first I want to remove the sticker. But look at all that beading already. I'm just going to empty a little bit more water in my hose. This is from yesterday into today. I'm assuming it's probably completely run through, but I just want to be sure. Because water, it's a long hose. Water will sit in there. And we want to make sure we're always getting fresh water from the tank. Yep, we're getting the same type of thing. See how that water is just raining down? So on this glass, there's some type of hydrophobicness happening. Could be an aftermarket coating, glass cleaners, age. So I'm going to scrape off that sticker first, and then we're going to touch up the bottom here. So I do this with a torch. It might seem a little bit scary, but there's a really good reason why. We heat treat the window, and as soon as you do that, when you spray your soap, it now evenly sheets on the glass. So everywhere above that I haven't hit yet, and I want to be careful getting too far down, I'm still seeing that same beading. I've tried a lot of different products. Nothing is as fast or as clean as just using a torch. So I'm still going to scrape the top of this window first, and then we'll heat treat it. I want to make sure that there's any debris, stickiness. This isn't a brand new truck, and it's a work truck. Just make sure that it's free of anything. Now we can just take a torch. Oh, wow. We're actually at the end. That's rare. Good thing we got backup. So the nice thing is you can leave the window wet still, and it's just touching the flame to the surface of it seems to do the trick. So now when I spray this, I just don't see near that same amount of beading. Again, it's really hard to get the flame. I don't want to touch the plastics with it. I like that I can keep the window wet. So avoid melting anything. And it's a flame. So it warms up the glass a little bit. So when you are installing, keep that in mind. You might want to wait, leave some water on it, just let the glass cool off just a bit. That way, when you put the film on there, it gets to slide around a little bit more. That's the whole point of doing that in the first place. So we're going to sweep this off. Take a squeegee, top to bottom. And then I have a card, tri-edge card for the side here. And for good measure, I'm going to do that one more time. Once should be enough, twice because I'm paranoid. to sweep this side, sweep this side. And we can do this next part in either which way. We can coat the window, and then we can spray some gel, or we can spray some gel and then coat the window. Either of them works great. So we got our pattern here. I'm going to peel it right off the truck. We're going to peel it about halfway. We can go a little farther because it is a, big flat sealed truck. A lot more straightforward than an Audi, for example. And then we're going to lay the long side first. Just put that on the glass. And then we're going to take this, tuck it in, and slide it over. So the gel is for a couple reasons. The biggest one is it just helps keep extra dirt out of the edges. It acts as a barrier, it collects dirt, and then it prevents it from just sticking right to the adhesive. The other thing is it helps keep the adhesive from sticking immediately to the glass. So that's what we use our soapy water for, obviously. But some films can be really tacky. Hot summertime. All those things can help. Where do you get the gel from? TintBot, where do we get the tint gel from? The OptiGlide. For soap, I use something called Tint Slip. But you can get away with using a baby shampoo. I wouldn't use anything with a degreaser in it. It's just not recommended. Anything that might cause long-term breakdownageness. OptiGlide doesn't sound like a tint gel. I didn't name it. You get it from the gel store. So I'm actually going to use that. Oh man, that's like perfect example. You see how like hydrophobic this is and where we hit it with the torch? Look at that. That's crazy. I'm going to hit that with some gel just so this doesn't bind up when I go to tuck this. It's just hopefully will give me a little bit more slidey. Where's my shank? Where's my shank, bro? There we go. So we're going to tuck this corner in first. Then we're going to go over to this side. Get this corner tucked in. Oh my god. Hang on. There we go. There's a very small sticky thing on the glass from when we removed the sticker there. And we're gonna tuck. And we're gonna push out the rest of this. I've been tinting since 2008. Tinting, it depends on how you take to it. Everybody's gonna be different. Some people take to it fast. I'd say most people are about a year before they're fairly competent. But There's lots of resources now, tons of videos and examples. Just become obsessive about practicing and try not to be too critical on your own work in the beginning. It's giving yourself more opportunities and at-bats. How does that not mess up electric parts? I get asked that a lot. Oh, this is nice, by the way. See all that dirt on that tape? That's one reason I like to use the tape. Tintbot, what tape do we use on the sides in the seals? So you can peel the cover off. So the main thing that could get damaged just leaving things uncovered is switches. This. But water runs down and is actually protected. If you look up a video of disassembling a door panel, you're going to see a plastic membrane or a plastic barrier. The window rolls down to this section, and your speaker and a lot of other things are all walled off. So that water actually drips down here and comes out these drain holes. See, it's wet here. Comes out there at the bottom. When it rains, you see this gap? You see there'll be a gap here too, typically. Like there's water that is still getting in your door. When your window is wet, again, water is in your door. So your car is always made in a way. It's not waterproof, granted, and yes, I tend to go a little water heavy. There's always the potential for some type of issue. But we do this day in and day out. Hundreds of live stream videos and cars that I've tinted off stream. This is just how tinting is done. And as long as you're careful about the main things, like I'm not going to take and spray it right at an electric switch. Keep what you can covered up, and things generally sort themselves out. So that's that door. Other door is all cut out, ready to go. We got to take a torch over there. Is it this one? No, this one. We'll put that there for now. Nice job on tinting that. Thank you. Not into tinting, but that was some great advice for any beginner learning. Oh, I appreciate that. That's really nice. You guys are really nice today. Thank you. I have a really old tint in my car, early 90s. Would you recommend soak it? What do you recommend to soak it with to get it off? So part of the struggle with old tint is just getting the tint off. You're still probably going to have to deal with the adhesive. Look up the trash bag method for removing tint. It's going to help you out a bunch. It's a good, if it's nice and hot outside, it's a good thing to try. People would freak out if they saw me pressure wash the door cards in my Tesla. Yes, they would. What cutting machine do you use? I use a Graphtec FC9000, but these are cut by hand. I don't use the plotter on every car. Ooh, same problem over on this side. Super chat. Okay, hang on one second. Let's just take a quick break over there. Thank you. I have a new system. I probably gotta add that so I can view it. But the good news is, hang on. I gotta open up another window and go check it out. Because I didn't consider that, but thank you so much. There we go. Z Gorgeous. Hey, Matt, thanks for the second keychain. What RO system do you recommend? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. RO system. There we go. I actually have a... I'll show you over here. I have a DI system. So I have the spotless water system. It runs for a couple months before we have to change out the filters on it. But it's been really good. Keeps your water super clean. RO is probably better. I was just looking for something that I could plumb in at the time, so I wouldn't know exactly what to get for RO. Okay, so on this window, when I spray my soapy water, it doesn't look like soapy water anymore. It looks like little raindrops. So we're going to torch it. And the reason we do that is because now when I spray it, it sheets. So the slip solution is going to lay on the window a hell of a lot better than it did before. So for whatever reason, there can be a hydrophobic coating, there can be old glass, whatever else. We're taking a flame and we're heat treating the window. To stop that from happening, because when I go to tint this, my tint is going to lock in place so fast. It's not going to give me time to move it around and make it look pretty. I've tried a lot of products. Glass scrubbing compounds, chemicals. This is the cleanest and fastest thing. It's just a little scary. We can't get obviously as close. We can't get as close to the seals with that without burning them, right? So I'm going to shy away a little bit from that. We're going to witness breaking the glass with thermal stress. You know, if we do, we'll get a good clip out of it, that's for sure. These are tempered windows. Even laminated, they're fine. It's warm at most right now. It's not hot. It's not like shocking the window. It was also covered in water too when I did it. Now, if you sit there with a torch and focus it on one spot, something is going to give. Is it dangerous for the tint to be on the other side? No, like nothing's heating up that fast. So like I can take a torch here. It was like this, right? Let's take a torch. How much did we heat it up? I can still hold my hand there. It doesn't sting. It feels slightly warm. There wasn't enough time there to do anything other than make this happen. I know, torches are scary. I wish there was just a chemical I could spray on there that did the same thing. Glass scrubbing compound does work, but it leaves grit behind. So it's my method of choice. So now we're going to gel the edges. We're going to take our film, and now we're going to peel it. I need to be taller. So we're going to peel this halfway, because we're going to two-stage this. I am going to coat make sure we got a nice even layer of water on this pattern, and then we're going to get it as close to in place as possible. Then we get that side tucked in, move over to this side, and then we bring this back. Who taught you about the torch? I saw that tip in our community. That is pretty close. Good. Right there. Looks good. So we're gonna lightly squeegee out some of that water, and then we can make sure that's tacked in place, take a harder squeegee to it, push out some extra moisture. Push that out. And wipe that off. And let's roll this up and install the bottom. So again, I didn't get super close. So you can see some of this is nice and sheeted, and some of this is, see where all that is kind of trailing away? That's just glass. Like the film's gonna stick to that immediately. So I can spray some gel, and then that's gonna help. That's gonna be pretty rare that I actually do that, but we have it, we might as well use it. This is a very hydrophobic truck for sure. It's not a hard truck to tint. It's just, I'm surprised to see the glass so hydrophobic-y. The gel is water-based. It's like probably 99% water. So it's safe for film, dries out clean, doesn't leave residue behind. Sweep this down, and you can see these lines, that tension from the snap shrink. So again, we're spreading that film out over the window in the same way that you saw it snap against the window. Hydrophilic. Oh yeah, that's the word. That's the word we're looking for. Hydrophobic, hydrophilic. Spready outy, that works too. All right. Peel those off. We're going to wipe that down. See all these drips? Let's wipe it off and we'll check it over. Look at that. Look at how clean. It's a work truck. There's a scratch there. This is on the outside, whatever that is. It's got a little bit of beat up age to it. But that is clean. All right, next up, we are going to do the full windshield on this. But before that, my wife's getting on a plane. I had to say goodbye. I see what? I see only one drip, and that's your skill because you got drip. Is that a compliment or an insult? I'm not sure. Okay, let's turn off the truck. These are my favorite. We need more. We need more seats that do this. And then I got a simple mirror here. Ugh. I'm having a good day on this truck. So to take this mirror off, little torque screw, that slides off. Doesn't get any easier than that. I've got this wonderful cutout. I just got to go around the mirror. That's it. There's no collision system. Very simple. Can put the wipers up. I'm going to get some seat covers. I'm going to tuck in a dash towel. Okay, good. Oh, is it really? It's $250 already? Dang. $250. Oh, actually, that's what we're charging today, too. The cabinets are new age cabinets. So when I tuck a towel in, I tuck it in. See that? I don't just leave it bunched up. I don't have a ton of space here. So I want to feed this in as much as I can, but I don't want it to get in the way. So these corners, we'll either pull them back or tuck them in much farther, but I'm not going to leave them just kind of like stuck here in the middle. I want to make sure that they're out of my way in one way or another. So I might pull them back and just deal with it. But I want to make sure whatever is helping keep the vehicle safe doesn't get in my way. Because then we just have to retint it, and then that's worse. Yes, this one's $250 for the front doors and the windshield. We're doing a carbon film on this. Whee! Let's do this one-handed. I just have 3 different types of film. 2 ceramic films and 1 carbon film. This is a work truck. They wanted to just go more budget on this. They don't care about heat performance. It's all about styling. Styling and a little bit of shade. Cool. So that is tucked in. How often do you use a soak rope these days? Honestly, not very often anymore. Soak ropes are awesome, and I always would recommend keeping one around. But the towel does the work of both, and if I have extra space, I will add a rope on top of the towel. But a towel covers the entire dashboard, tucks into the front, it keeps everything dry. How long till he can roll his windows down? A couple days. Honestly, you could roll them down right away and they'd be perfectly fine. It's been harder to explain that to people, so I just 2 days. 2 days in the summertime. All right. So we got a scrub pad here. We're going to clean off the outside of the windshield. Soapy water, glass safe scrub pad. This is just going to loosen up anything on the outside. And then I take a wide shower style squeegee. This is a Libman squeegee. These are fantastic for this. How long for a truck this size? They're really straightforward because they're 4 doors. Even if they're a slider, which this one isn't, that's easier to tint. So is the slider than a sedan back window. So we'd be done with this start to finish in a couple hours. See this little bit of tape here, or glue residue, probably from like an old oil change sticker. It's really common. There's like an old bug there. So before I cover this up, with a dryer sheet, I'm going to clean the inside because this is nice and clean now. Clear tint for UV? Yeah, clear for UV, and also more people do it for the heat. So like the infrared, what you feel. It's really good for that. Oh, let me put this back here. That's how I lose it. Let's use the long one today. I'm gonna swap out the razor blade on this. did an older RAV4. So much better than the new ones. Oh, I agree. Those new quarter windows are a pain in the butt. Toyota, Subaru, Honda on certain ones. I like to throw them on so much. Lexus especially. Pain in the butt. All right. Oh, these dots are even laminated in the glass. This is even better. This is gonna look perfect. Do we still need the torch for the front windshield? I've honestly never torched a windshield. I haven't run to the same type of hydrophobicness on windshields. I just got a Subaru, planned on tinting the windshield. Oh. So Subarus, sorry, we gotta ruin your day a little bit. Subarus have a eyesight system, and I don't know if that's this exact same on yours. They've been doing this for a while. They have sometimes 1, sometimes 3 cameras that sit up, and there's a gap in between the actual collision system, radar detection system, or whatever, like, you know, lane keep, all that, and the glass. So you don't want to put any film in between that. Subaru's like really uptight about those systems. They want to be known as having the safest safety system possible. So like they're really, really strict about that stuff. It's not like they would take away the car or something. It's just the system might not work. How do you get clients when you're first starting out? Oh, no. How do you get clients when you're first starting out? Local hustle. It's something I'm honestly, I've never been super ambitious about. I went on Facebook Marketplace. Or no, I went on Facebook and I started posting ads. Not Marketplace specifically. And dealing with that, get yourself on Google My Business. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Your short videos inspired me to start tinting. That's super cool. Appreciate that. Okay, so this is a razor blade scraper. I don't like to have to do this with a whole windshield, but you see this bug here? Yummy. And then we had adhesive here. So when I see a couple things like that, you never know where there might be something stuck that's just hard to see, hard to reach. So in my opinion, you never can be too thorough with a windshield. I've had something small get me too many times. A little adhesive, old inspection sticker residue. Just a number of things like that. Okay, so this is a first clean. I'm still gonna go around and clean the windshield right before we go to install it. But we're gonna prep it for shrinking. What's the darkest tint that you can get? Darkest we have is a 2%. Which is a little darker than 555. All right, we're gonna prep this windshield for shrinking. Oh, you know what? We can go straight across on this one, and I'll show you why. But first, we're gonna take the cut guard tape and we're gonna put it right on the edge of that dotted line. So the tape is 1/4 inch wide. I'm gonna cut directly on the tape so that keeps the blade off of the glass. Now for this cutout, I have just glass. I don't have your typical ADAS system, and I have just a mirror cutout. So that's all we have to cut out. I could follow it all the way around, or I can just do a circle cutout. Either of them would be fine. I'm gonna go around this corner. I pull the tape out and then I let it relax a little bit. And I also hold the roll sideways. That way I'm not keeping it super far away from the glass. It makes it easier to apply. And we just outline the whole thing. You can go straight across. Trim. And then we can coat it with a Snuggle dryer sheet on this one. So to do that, take your sprayer, wet the sheet, rough it up, and then we want to mist the glass. Don't need to spray it super heavy. But the nice thing about this is that it's okay if you over apply it. You just want a nice even layer. There's other products that you can use, dry shrink prep, soap bars. It's all personal preference. Snuggle sheets are not universal for tinting. They just work really well with the films that I'm using. People tend to just apply way too much when they first start, or more than they need to. But it's fine. It's not going to hurt it. Yep, like actual. So we're going to show exactly why we use them for shrinking. I need to wait for that windshield to dry now. So we got a couple minutes. Anti-vandalism tint? No. I've tried out a security film, 4mm security film that was tinted on a car. Shrunk fine, but it was kind of blurry, so I didn't keep it. So to speed this along, I can take a heat gun. The dryer sheet needs to be completely dry. Water likes to grab onto tint, especially on painted glass, plastic surfaces. So just want to make sure when I brush my finger, see that? That's still wet. All these drips, just make sure that's completely dry. If I don't get the waves during heat shrinking, is it because the heat gun's not hot enough? Possibly. What heat gun are you using? In the beginning, film doesn't need a ton of heat to start shrinking. So, like, you should see something. See this? That's wet. Doesn't quite look like it. But in those thicker, smeary parts, always look at the corners and anywhere that has this little, like, that's where a sheet stopped. On this edge, that's still a little wet. But to be faster, I would do this. I would suggest doing this before doing something else. So we're able to kind of kick back, talk about window tint, take our time, explain things. If this was just a regular job and I'm trying to save as much time as I possibly can, I would do this first, prep a windshield. Then while it's drying, I then start working on something else. I have to use a wireless heat gun because I don't have access to an outlet. I've got a solution for you. This or a torch. Wireless heat guns absolutely do not get hot enough. They don't blow enough air. Battery is not near as strong as an actual outlet. This is a 3,000 watt peak. This draws, watch, I'll turn this on and show you. Unless it's dead. No, it's just starting up. Turn this on. A heat gun's gonna draw. Don't know if you can read that. Almost 1,200 watts. This will last for, it tells me right here, 0.8 hours. I've reliably got probably about 45 minutes to an hour of just constant use out of something like this. So charges in an hour. These big power packs are amazing. There's a whole bunch of them. Just look for something that's going to be 2,000 watts peak and up. Ask good old AI if whatever one you're looking at is a good option for whatever you're going to use. It can help clear that up super fast. But see, a cheap heat gun works way better than an expensive battery-powered heat gun because it has access to an actual outlet. Oh shit. Did I just fuck up really bad? This is my... Oh, no, okay. I'm brain fart. I'm talking about other stuff. I should have a 40. There's my 40. I was like, I thought I had a 40 in carbon. But I was looking at ceramic and for the rest of the rolls, and my brain was telling me that they were something else. So plug in an Amazon heater gun will not work, lol. What? Can you type? Ooh, I gotta check something real quick. It's about that time. Oh, wow, I just caught it. How did I do this? I'm gonna screen cap that. Unable? What do you mean? There we go. Okay, perfect. That actually worked out great. I got banned for not doing that. So if I don't catch it, I'm probably going to get banned again. Even a hairdryer works as long as it's plugged in. No, barely. A hairdryer will shrink tint a little bit. I've got a video. I've tried it. But a hairdryer gets really hot, but not quite hot enough to be good for shrinking a full windshield. It'll kind of just like lose steam. You need a little bit more heat as you get farther out. Maybe like a really expensive one, but then that defeats the purpose. But yeah, a cheap heat gun is all you need because a wall outlet has so much more power than what they can do in a battery. So you can get a lot of output on a battery, but it's going to be very short-lived, or you're going to get very low heat and it's going to last longer. There's just not enough capacity there. Not unless you're like, again, this hefty thing with 5 plugs is going to last for an hour. So stick the heat, you know what I mean? Try and make that in a package this big. We're just not there yet. If you want a portable heat gun, you use one of these, like completely uncorded, or you plug it into that or a generator. How's the clarity on GeoShield's Carbon? It's extremely good. It's a big reason that I picked up GeoShield in the first place. All right, we're gonna set up this windshield for shrinking. We have a dryer sheet. We're just trimming the excess off of it first. So we wanna make sure that this is flat and our edges are also flattened, or at least we push those fingers directed upwards. And we're going to run to the other side. This is a Snitty safety cutter, by the way. Name's a little weird, but it's basically a fancy letter opener. Kobe! Oh, that was better than what I thought it was going to be. Okay, so you see how this film is loose? That's why we like a dryer sheet. It's because it lets it float. But we can pull it tight, and then I can tack it down, and now it just sticks. See? It's not moving anymore. It's perfect. So whatever you prep a windshield with, you want to make sure that it's going to do that. And there's a lot of different things that can give you the same effect. I couldn't tell you what every single one of them are because I use what I like. But people are always finding other options. Dry shrink prep, soap, bars. You could probably use ketchup if you really wanted to. Catch up. Let's try it. Okay, we're gonna start shrinking. So, most cheap heat guns are perfectly fine for shrinking tint. I got one that I can show you that I don't recommend, but a lot of inexpensive ones are perfectly fine. How much heat do you actually need? I couldn't tell you. I'm always looking for this pattern. So, I control the heat gun with both speed and distance. So if I move it slowly, it's getting hotter. And if I move my hand even closer, I'm going to burn myself unless I'm moving it really fast. So keep that in mind when you're shrinking. We can start out farther and just gradually move in until we start to see the film shrink, and then keep it at that distance. And wait for that pattern, this ripply wave pattern, to start to form. As soon as you see it, that's shrunk. Don't shrink it any farther. So, heat gun, move it inwards. I don't see it shrinking. I don't see it shrinking. Oh, there it goes. Now it's shrinking. And then I just hold it there. Shrinking doesn't have to be very hard or complicated. What's difficult is to force yourself to recognize the same patterns. I'm just shrinking it up to get that ripple pattern. Once I see that, I'm not going to apply any more heat to it. If I keep shrinking it, it's going to get over shrunk, and it's going to be really hard for me to smooth it forward, and it's often going to spring back. If I don't shrink it enough, and I just take my card and zip it up the whole windshield, I'm going to crease it really bad. So, heat gun 45. On high. Oh, it's shrinking. Look at that. And I just move it across. Let's go back. And I'm watching for that pattern. I'm not necessarily going on just time. I'm going to wait until I can actually have that pattern before I card anything down. If I don't see that pattern, I make another pass with it. So heat gun, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Oh, there it goes. See these ripples? This may be a little bit more. Now we can see that ripple a little bit better. Perfect. All right, let's go do the other side. How do you get rid of those awful cloudy streaky lines from the glass? Like what I have right now, there's a dryer sheet in between the film and the glass. So we'll clean that off after we install it. But right now, that dryer sheet's very important because it is letting our film tack in place where we want it to, but then continue to float so we can shrink it. A lot of people get hung up on top corners. when they're shrinking. This one's not super curved, but one of the biggest things that everybody, when they're starting out, misses is it's not about getting the fingers to just disappear. We're pulling the film flat. So this one shrunk down pretty quick and easy, but when I actually card it, and all carding is doing is scooting the film, laying it flat on the window. It has nothing to do with the film actually shrinking. But towards these corners, you get these swoops because there's curve here. So some of this wants to go here, some of it goes here, and some of it goes here. So if I were to physically pull it, I'm going to pull it from both here and here, and see how that flattens out a lot more. So that's exactly what you're doing with the card. You don't even necessarily need to use a card. It just helps move things forward and helps you identify what needs to be shrunk next. So we still got some little waves here. That needs to be shrunk just a little bit more. I'm gonna jump all the way down here and grab my heat gun. Is more expensive tint easier to lay than less expensive tint? No, this is actually one of GeoShield's least expensive products. This is C2 Carbon. It's a very easy film to shrink. Their most expensive film, Apex, is a dual layer ceramic, so it's got 2 layers of ceramic. You have to baby that film a little bit more than this. So a ceramic film, a carbon film, that doesn't inherently make a film easy or hard to work with. And traditionally, cheap carbon films and cheap ceramic films have been more difficult to shrink. But I think cheap inherits a lot of the early characteristics when carbon and ceramic first came out. So a lot of ceramics were very rubbery, hazy, and they didn't shrink very well. And as film has kind of grown up, they've made it easier to work with overall. But just because the film is expensive doesn't mean it's going to just shrink easily. One of the easiest shrinking types of film is a dyed film, and that's about as cheap as you can get, because it's nothing more than polyester and dye. Carbon adds carbon to it, carbon particles, and then ceramic adds ceramic to it. So now it's a multi-layer product. So you keep adding stuff to it, and some of them are easy to shrink, and some of them are just not. It's really, is that particular film from that particular brand easy to work with or not? It's not just because it's carbon or it's ceramic. Cheap films from Amazon, Walmart are generally just poor quality materials. They might shrink fine, The biggest question is, are they going to last? And if they're ceramic, are they actually going to be clear in the sunlight? Because a lot of films, a lot of carbon and ceramic films that are cheap, they use bigger particles. The bigger the particle, the less clear the film. So the good stuff is just more refined. What's that white line we're cutting on? Tint bot, what's the glass aid cut guard that we're cutting on? This is... Did it pop? Hey, look at that! Holy shit! That's batting 1,000 today. So the white line is cut guard. And I like it best for keeping the glass safe. So when I actually trim on this, I'm trimming on the white line, it keeps the blade raised off the windshield. So I don't ever risk putting a scratch in a windshield. Glass is just too expensive to replace over something stupid. Replacing this windshield could cost well more than what I'm charging to tint the front two and the windshield. So there's just not a good reason to put a scratch in it over something stupid. You're not worried about the wrinkles within the cutout? No. So once we make that cut, I'm going to peel this off. But that kind of leads into that second question there about the wrinkles. And this just comes with more experience. You get used to what to look for. If I leave an air pocket behind and the film still looks pretty flat, it's going to lay flat on the inside. What's not going to lay flat is some of these ripples at the very edge, and we're going to touch that up. I would do that with or without the tape. After I trim it, I always go over, touch up the top and the bottom. You're going to turn a heat gun back on. And this just, it just comes with some experience. You get a few installs, you see what pops up. If your windshield looks flat, maybe an air pocket or two, like remember, this is a dryer sheet, this isn't glue. So I can have a wrinkle, and then if I push it, and oh look, that kind of like laid flat and went away. It's not gonna magically pop up on the inside. What will pop up is stuff that lets air back in. So ripples on the edges, or little fingers, those should be flattened out. So I'm gonna get the heat gun much closer, right at the very end, heat it up for just a second or two. And that gets it to flatten out. GeoShield Carbon, when you run 5.5, it's gonna lean kind of warm when it's that dark. Is it easy to burn through the tint with a heat gun? Yeah, if you get it too close for too long, it's just thin plastic. So let me get this, let me let this get hot. Hang on, It's a bad piece to try this on. Let me just push this up here. See that? If you get like really close for a second or two. But if you stay farther away, about here, I don't know the exact temperature, but I always feel like it's a little bit more like your skin. So as soon as you start to feel your skin like really get hot, that's when the film is wanting to shrink. So you can kind of use your hand here as a gauge. And like, okay, I can still do this, but I'm not burning myself. It's really hot, but I'm actually not burning myself. I can hold it out here, right about here. Now it's getting hot. Feels hot, but the heat gun is not moving. So you get used to that temperature and you watch what the film does. Okay. So what do we do? We'll do the cutout on the inside and then sweep off the inside and it's ready to go. Do they have rock chip protection film? They do. I don't have anything that I personally install yet. It's some major brands have it. There's definitely options out there now. They're still kind of early, so it's pretty expensive, and it doesn't last as long as people typically want. So I think $500 and maybe 18 months warranty. But if it saves your $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 windshield from breaking, it was probably worth it. But for a truck like this, your daily driver, it's hard to justify. But your average car now for a windshield replacement is getting upwards of $500, $600, $700, higher than that in some cases. There's definitely plenty of more expensive examples. There's an F-150 windshield that I think is $1,500. No, thank you. Crazy. This is crazy. That's fucking windshields. But you have calibrations, and then just everything has gotten silly. Here, I'm going to dust this off. There you go. Seizure warning. Okay, scrub pad I think is in there. Make sure I got whatever squeegees I want to bring in today. I don't even know. I could bring in all these. Oh, this, I was looking for this one. Sure, why not? And then some gel, a towel, and a sprayer. Do you have a Traverse anytime soon? No, but do you just have a spoiler in the way? Because I have videos with rear spoilers. There's one in particular on a Blazer that I would definitely watch. All right, look at that. We can sit right in the middle of this one. So there's a tab. Oh no, and a fly on the outside. That's not going to be a problem, right? So I got a tab here, and I'm just going to cut this out on the inside. It's going to be really easy to do. It's a normal application of the gel. How does it help? Somebody was asking about important in particular. Gel will not magically make you an amazing tinter. It helps with being a thick preventative measure that you can spray. on the edges in particular and help keep dirt kind of like at bay. Hello. All set for today. Thank you. I actually didn't realize he was coming back today. So I'm going to sweep this off. Windshields, I'm always a little paranoid. But we sweep stuff off the windshield and then that drips on the sides. So it doesn't hurt after the first time, especially, you know, clean that off. So then you don't get a bunch of random speckles because maybe your tint hits something like this. I missed it one more time. Sweep it off. And then we're going to spray the gel. For the dryer sheets, is it Snuggle in particular, or is there any that work? There's other ones that can work. People are using Bounce for a long time. Bounce ended up changing their formula and it doesn't work as well. So I would just stick with something that most people recommend. I have noticed the real cheap dryer sheets just don't seem to work the same. But I'm not trying dryer sheets. I landed on Snuggles and been using that for quite a long time now. So the gel is building up a hefty layer along the edges here. What I like about this is I can spray it before or after. Doesn't really matter. But it's thick. So it's not letting my soap run into... pull dirt from the very edges and run into the windshield in the same way that just soapy water would. It also kind of encapsulates dirt, and then as you squeegee it pushes it back out, and it doesn't just like let it stick to the adhesive. Water's kind of special like that, where it'll just bring all the dirt in and let it stick to the tint. So we're going to reverse roll this windshield, which means we're going to roll it up like a poster and unroll it on the inside. I'm going to peel a quarter of this, then peel the other quarter so I get halfway across the windshield. I want to douse this down, but I want to be careful about up top. I don't just soak this and get a bunch of runoff. That's going to drag dirt with it. And then we're going to lay this back down, nice and gently. We're going to run over the other side, do the same thing. Peel the film back just like we did on the other side. And we're going to make sure that we cross over halfway. So that way we're peeling the entire liner here. We're gonna lay this down. Then we can soak it again. So we're gonna roll this up like a poster. And the water helps the film slide more as you roll it up. Makes it much, much easier. So you can start with a big roll and then pinch your fingers in, kind of back it up, and you can tighten that roll up while it still clung to the windshield. We're going to keep going. Now, there's no reason that you can't spray the film with gel as well. So wherever you want to spray it, go nuts. See how it helps. See, I can keep tightening this roll up, so even after I roll the whole thing up, I can pinch it tighter and just keep going. Then I'm going to grab this liner here, if I can find it. There we go. So I got the liner. I'm now peeling that back, and it rolls to the back side. So now as I unroll this, it's just peeling itself. Kind of magical how it works. I didn't make this up. I was shown how to do it. My mind was blown, and I've been doing this way ever since. It's super helpful. So I want to start with getting this front corner in on this windshield. Doesn't have to be perfectly in place, but the closer you get the windshield to being where it needs to, the easier this is all going to be. Then we just start unrolling. And then as I'm unrolling, I'm holding the roll pretty parallel with the glass as much as I can, and I'm making sure that everything lays flat. That part's really important. If it lays flat on the windshield as it goes, it's not going to want to flop back off the windshield. So I get about halfway, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And then this is that liner. So we're going to keep peeling this windshield. But when I get to a couple feet to a foot at the end, I can just let this roll drop away. Use the liner to unroll the rest of the film. Throw it out the car. Douse it again. And then we're going to tuck this up on the windshield, avoiding the pillars, the towel. So you flatten that out, kind of like we started on the other side. Get that on the windshield, and we should have enough wiggle room to finesse this in place. Got this bottom corner that I forgot to unpinch first. That's always fun. I love when bottom corners pinch. Let me go grab a tool really quick. This might help. I'll show you. See, the towels are good, the ropes are good, but they can cause pinching because they bunch up in a corner. So you want to either shove it far out of the way so it never is a problem, or just try and hold it back So you have just enough wiggle room to sneak the film in there. That's what makes German cars such a pain in the butt, because they just don't give you any space there. So I'm going to make sure that this other side, where's my edge? That all looks good. Everything's covered. So this tab here, I'm going to cut this out first. There we go. Nice clean cutout. And we need to hurry up and start smoothing out some film. I forgot one last tool. Fuck you. Ugh. I thought I had time. Hang on. You couldn't have timed a better spot to just completely cut the video feed. I'm taking one right now, okay? Hear that? We are reconnecting. We're reconnecting the video. Windshield is sitting. I haven't done shit. Come on, just connect. You really feel the seconds. I know. It's give it a second. Give it a second. Preparing to live stream. There's no continue button. I can't just. That never works. It tells me it has that feed. It doesn't work. Okay, we have a feed. I hope. Action 6. Cool. Oh, and we need the tool. Look at that. Windshield's still here. All right, I'm gonna take this wide spatula thing. And we're gonna sweep this out. This is like the best part, right? You can't just cut this out. So what I like about this is it does a really good job of spreading out the film and getting all your air out, but you have these big air pockets, right? That can just let that part of the film honestly start to, like, the glue start to tack up a little bit, start to dry out. So this is taking all that water and pushing the air out, but it's not enough to like really seal it down to the glass. So there's still a pretty good layer of water in there. And then we can take a harder squeegee and really seal this down. Tint has a pressure sensitive adhesive. It wants to stick to things. So if I were to squeegee the window in a weird spot and then take air and shove it back through, you'd get a big smear right where you just had squeegeed. So that's why it's nice to leave water behind, get most of the air out, spread the film out, and then you come back through and really less likely to get any small air pockets left behind. Right like that. And we can hit the bottom. Oh, I used to use these all the time. This is the Stroke Doctor. See that? Want to be careful there. I'm going to jump over there, get a little closer though. Just make sure that it is not going to pinch as I sweep it. There we go. Now it laid flat. That's such an easy spot to just like haphazardly sweep because everything else was brushing out fine, and then you get there and you crease it. Where do you get your squeeze from? Tintbot, where do we get squeegees from? It's actually pretty good. It did a keg instead of a squeegee blade. Not too bad. All right. It was pretty derpy yesterday. I'm surprised it's been working that well. Good job. I did the front doors, and we're just wrapping up the last window. So front doors and windshield. So now we're going to just sweep it off, line by line. It's going to be the prettiest work truck windshield ever. AS1 lines. AS1 lines are by state. Windshield strips over the AS1 line is what I hear a lot. That's not our legal limit. Our legal limit here is 4 inches. AS1 line sometimes is like really shy, but it's typically right around here. No, nobody does want just 4 inches. I've done it maybe once. You get some weird people that are like, yeah, I want the legal limit. And you're like, well, the legal limit is 4 inches in Michigan unless you have a doctor's note. And then they're like, okay. You're like, wait, what? Really? Are you sure? They're like, yeah, I just want to keep it legal. I was like, all right, cool. That's fine. Takes twice as long to do. Not in a strip, but on the doors is the funniest one. I've done a handful of Michigan legals in my life. I don't charge any different either. You're still using like a full piece of film, and it takes time. It's like it's only 4 inches, but I don't even know how that became the law, but it's been that way for a very long time, longer than I've been tinting. Michigan state law has not changed on tint. It was up for review years ago, and it was the best thing that ever happened for more tint business. It was pretty crazy. So the headlines were window tint to be legal, become legal in Michigan, front doors, and windshield. And everybody read headlines and just assumed that that meant we're good to go. Let's tint it. Nothing changed. The revision was going to be for 70% only, which effectively isn't anything because your glass is already 75%. So it essentially means that you still can't put anything on there. And it never got approved. But as soon as those headlines went up, we started doing more windshields. We would explain that it's still technically not legal unless you have a doctor's note. And they're like, no, I want to do it. Let's do it. Amazing. Amazing how that works. But it's become so common that if you're not drawing attention to yourself and they can reasonably see you, you just, around here, you just don't ever get hassled for it. It's not that you can't, but I think it definitely needs to go up for a practical revision, but our laws are a little silly, but you know, overall it's actually pretty good. What kind of ticket? 2 points. It's a moving violation, I think. It's technically not a fix-it ticket here, but it depends on how they write it. I know because I went through it. So I got a ticket once from a city cop, and I got another ticket once from a state cop. And so with the city, they were pretty easygoing about it. They're like, yeah, you just can't have it. Bring it to the courthouse with it removed, and then we'll sign off on the ticket. And I did that same thing with the state police, and they're like, why the fuck are you here? Like, do you guys not sign off the tint tickets if we get them removed? And they're like, hell no. Get out. And then it was funny is I took my state ticket, and I called the city, and they said, yeah, we can sign off on it. So I still got it waived. I'm the cops. Would you like 5%? Because that's what a lot of them like. I would have some that just wanted 5 because they're a cop. That was always funny to me. Like, what shade do you want to go with? 5. He's like, you sure you want to go with 5 on like the front? It's pretty dark. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a cop. I'm like, I don't care. It's just dark. But you sound pretty sure, so sure. But tint's grown in such a different way. What people knew about tint was it's only a way for making your car dark. But it's always been a good way of blocking out UV. And now you can block out heat. So it's just the laws have never grown up with the times. And then the people in charge of the laws might not actually care to look into it much, and they just think, well, that sounds like a hazard. I'm not going to be responsible for that, and then, you know, make it even worse. But I think practically we should have up to 50 on a windshield to be reasonable, 35 on the front doors. And then still, Michigan is as dark as you want on the back. I'm cool with that. Some states have laws for the rear. Like Florida was a surprising one. Florida is, I think, 18 on the rear or something weird like that. Or 15. Cop here. Let's go. Do you get 5%? Isn't UV blocking out heat? No, they're different things. This measures UV. UV A and B, though, that's what gives you like a sunburn. Infrared IR, that's heat. That's more like what you feel. I actually don't know if I've ever tried a UV meter on this. Oh, yeah. So see, it's not even reacting here. There's just no UV coming off of this. But if I turn on the BTU meter here, this is heat. You see how this just shot up? This is carbon. This is C2 ceramic. And then this is Apex. You can like hardly feel it. But all tint's gonna block out UV. But you can get UV just passing through your car doors, so any tint's good to help with UV. Ceramic in particular is better to help with heat. Sorry, heat. Oh wow, it's 4. Oh, I'm so not used to late appointments. This is a 1:30 appointment. We've been streaming for 2 hours. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for hanging out today. I appreciate you. I gotta call this customer, deliver this, so I'm gonna take off. Y'all have a good one. Bye.